Hi. So instead of music today, I was going to read something from a book. I've been studying a lot of history and heraldry and the New World and architecture, and I'm located in Vancouver, unceded Coast Salish territories on the Salish Seas. And that mansion in the yard, in the garden, and the story written on it has it's important. It's the last building of the old world in the new world, and it's the only thing here that tells the story. And it goes to temporal night stuff, order of thistle, these kinds of rites that are supposed to be stewarding this land and making sure that four-leggeds and everything here has an ecosystem and exists. But I'm just going to read from these books I got from Merit, the Book of Knowledge. This is a copy from 1912, but they started printing these stories in 1899. And this is from the Book of Knowledge, from the Book of Stories, from the Children's Book of Stories section. And there's an actual copy of the will here. And this is called A Story of a Beautiful Thing, and it's actually a will. So the little prefix here is, I do not know anything more beautiful than the last will of Charles LOUNSBURY. I do not know anything which brings home to us with such quiet power than the truth that is the best thing, that the best things belong to us all. We are rich by being alive. We may walk penniless in a country lane with all the real wealth of the world. We may be millionaires at the bank and be at the poor and have the real wealth. All that is said most beautifully in this little will, which I first saw mentioned in the Public Opinion, an admirable paper for all whom love life. It was so beautiful that I could not rest until I had the will itself, and now that the author has sent it to me, I cannot help finding this corner for it. The writer of the will is Mr. Williston Fish, Willistonfish, of Chicago, a man of great reputation in law and finance in the city. Charles LOUNSBURY was a big, strong, good man, far back in Mr. Fish's family, and so Mr. Fish gave his name to the will. There are many rather unusual legal words in it, but their meaning is plain, and we can all read the will and feel whatever our bank books say, that we own the very earth. But then it kind of contradicts this in the will, like that we actually don't own it, but we're welcome. Okay. The Last Will of Charles LOUNSBURY. And again, there is an actual copy in this book. He was stronger and clever, no doubt, than other men in many broad lines of business had grown rich, until his wealth exceeded exaggeration. One more thing in his office. He directed a request to his confidential lawyer to come to him this afternoon. He intended to have his will drawn. A will is a solemn matter, even with men whose life is given up to business and who are by habit mindful of the future. After giving this direction, he took up no other matter, but sat at his desk alone in silence. It was a day when summer was first new. The pale leaves upon the trees were starting forth upon yet unbending branches. The grass in the parks and the freshness in its green like the freshness of the blue sky and the yellow of the sun, a freshness to make one wish that life might renew its youth. The clear breeze from the south wantoned about and then were still, as if loth to go finally away. Half idly, half thoughtfully, the rich man wrote upon the white paper before him, beginning what he wrote with capital letters, such as he had not made since as a boy in school. He had taken pride in his skill with a pen. Here it starts. But there's actually like the handwritten copy too. In the name of God, amen. I, Charles LOUNSBURY, being of sound and disposing mind and memory, he lingered on the word memory, do now make and publish this my last will and testament, in order as justly as I may to distribute my interest in the world among succeeding men and women. And first, the part of my interest, which is known among men and recognized in the sheep-bound volumes of the law as my property, being inconsiderable and of no account. I make no account of in this my will. My right to live, it being but a life estate, is not at my disposal, but these things accept it. All else in the world I now proceed to devise and bequeath. And first I give to good fathers and mothers, but in trust for their children, all good little words of praise and of quaint pet names, and I charge said parents to use them justly but generously in the needs of their children shall require. I leave to children exclusively, but only for the life of their childhood, all and every, the dandelions of the fields and the daisies thereof, with the right to play among them freely according to the custom of children, warning them at the same time against the thistle. And I devise to children the yellow shores of creeks and the golden sands beneath the water thereof, with the dragonflies that skim the surface of the said waters, and the odors of the willows that dip into the waters, and the white clouds that float high over the giant trees. And I leave to the children the long, long days to be merry in 1,000 ways, and the night and the moon and the train of the Milky Way to wander at, but subject, nevertheless, to the rights here and after given to lovers. And I give to each child the right to choose a star that shall be his, and I direct that the child's father shall tell him the name of it, in order that the child shall always remember the name of the star after he has learned and forgotten astronomy. I devise the boys jointly all the useful idle fields and commons where ball may be played, and all snow-clad hills where one may coast, and all streams and ponds where one may skate, and have to hold the same for the period of their boyhood, and all meadows in the clover blooms and the butterflies thereof, and all woods with their appurtenances. I've never seen that word. Appurtenances of squirrels and whirling birds, and echoes the strange noises, and all distant places which may be visited together with the adventure of there found. I do give to said boys to be theirs, and I give to said boys each his own place in the fireside at night, all with all pictures that may be seen in the burning wood or coal, to enjoy without let or hindrance, and without any encumbrance of cares. To lovers I devise their imaginary world, with whatever they may need, as the stars of the sky, and the red, red roses by the wall, the snow of the hawthorn, the sweet strains of music, or aught else they may desire to figure out each other the lastings and beauty of their love. The young men jointly being joined in a brave, mad crowd, I devise and bequeath all boisterous, inspiring sports of rivalry. I give to them the disdain of weakness and undaunted confidence of their own strength. Though they are rude and rough, I leave to them alone the power of making lasting friendships and the possessing companions, and to them I give all merry songs and brave choruses to sing with smooth voices to troll them forth. And to those who are no longer children or youths or lovers, I leave memory, and I leave to them the volumes of the poems of Burns and of Shakespeare and of other poets of there are others, to the end that they may live the old days over again freely and fully, without tithe or diminution. I've never heard that word either. Diminution. And to those who are no longer children or youths or lovers, I leave too the knowledge of what a rare, rare world this is. So it's pretty beautiful will, and It also brings me to the thought of we walk in two worlds, and it kind of makes me think that our dream world, like maybe the new world, which creates with our thoughts other spaces, I think our dream world has been hijacked by maybe computers or something, and like the whole world is getting fucked because of it. So maybe we can figure out some of these Bibles by putting all the books together, and we could get the hive brain going on how to sort out some of these world issues. But this is a good base to start, that we actually don't own these houses or this land, that the children do, and we need to remember this. Thank you for reading Hour with Rosie.